that moo, Joe. Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm Emmett.
I'm Joe.
And we are the UFO Bros. And again, we are at the facility.
Always at the facility.
Yes, and for those of you who are not familiar with the facility, you may have just heard a rooster crow. That's pretty telling. But also, we are under 24-hour surveillance security. And, you know, we like to do our thing. We like to come out and bring out the best we can in ufology, the newest, the best, the most interesting, the greatest stories. So today,
and the greatest
Joe,
people to tell them.
What?
And the greatest people to tell them.
I know, except for you. What's going on with your voice? You sound like a drag queen.
That's bad.
Hey,
I just woke up.
Tell me, honey, how's it going, honey? You just woke up. Well, look, we woke up for a good reason. If you plan on using that soundboard, then you better take it easy, Joe.
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. Well, so we chatted with Jeremy Corbell on the last show. That was so much fun.
It was.
And I think we're kind of getting into this awesome place where maybe we're going to get other intelligent people on the show to talk with us.
That'd be great.
And we've got another one today.
Yes.
The amazing James Gilliland. And I hope I'm saying that correctly. And if not, you know, we'll have him make sure to correct us. He's already on hold, Joe. He's listening to all your farts and everything.
Yeah.
Isn't this exciting? So for anybody that's listening now, we are the UFO Bros, and we cover the unexpected in the most unexpected way. We like to talk to people. We like to go to wherever there has been a UFO sighting, wherever there has been a UFO crash. And so that is a song that's being played right now. So, yeah, that was interesting. Did you hear that?
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I don't know what that was, but we'll get back to that. Anyway, this is part of our preparation for contact in the desert.
Yes, it is.
Make sure, if you're going, come say hello. You guys
make sure you're going and come say hello. Come say hello to us. Come hang out. Ask questions.
We have no idea what we're doing, but we'll answer every question we possibly can, right or wrong. I mean, take as an example, Joe, our #1 review for the unacknowledged film.
That was my
That's
fault.
going so well on YouTube right now.
Not really.
No. Somebody today told us that we caused them to lose brain cells. Well, that can happen with Joe.
Oh, jeez.
But we're talking about awesome, unexplained phenomenon. And for that reason, we're going to bring James Gilliland on here to
bring him on.
Let's bring him on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bring the music down. And of course, just like we normally do, we're going to start with a big round of applause. James, sir, are you there?
I'm here.
All right. It's so good to meet you. Thank you so much for being on the show.
Oh, it's good to be on.
Yes. And just so everybody knows, James lives in the most interesting place, and so we never know what kind of connection we're going to get. Isn't that right, James?
Yeah, it's pretty crazy here. I hope the Skype handles things because it's been dropping. But we've got a direct line. We shouldn't have any problems, but we have all kinds of weird anomalies here. You know, batteries mysteriously going dead and then charging back up and crazy, stuff with the cars, the vehicles as well.
Wow. If you know what I think would be awesome, if you would give us a snapshot of ESETI and what you're able to see on your property and where you live. I think a lot of people would love to hear about these. I mean, you have taped like thousands, if I remember correctly, of unidentified objects, like right in your backyard.
Yeah, we're right at the base of Mount Adams, which is looks much like Shasta, and it's a 70-acre ranch, and we're actually living right on a vortex, and there's other vortexes here as well. The mountain itself is a vortex, and It's a place where people come. The awakening and healing process is extremely accelerated. The veils between worlds are very thin here, and it's a place where a lot of incredible events keep unfolding one day after another. If it's not, if we don't have people getting photographs of masters appearing here, they're getting photographs and video of huge light ships. And just yesterday we had a black helicopter come over and right over the house, and one of the people here grabbed his iPhone and filmed it, and he had it on the 4K setting, and so he got a UFO. The helicopter's actually chasing this UFO, and the UFO just goes zipping right past it, turns around and comes right past it. So we've got black helicopter, but it's getting really active here. It seems like the military's taken a huge interest now in this place, and which they always have, but now they're like in our faces with it.
You know what? I was speaking with Ashley. I don't know if she's your assistant or whoever it is.
Yes.
She was telling me that the copters actually shook the buildings.
Yeah, they came
That's how
over.
close.
Yeah, they come over sometimes about between 11 and 12 sometimes, and the whole building is just shaking. And they'll do. It's like a little. They've been doing this for. I've been here for 30 years, and so the past 15 years they've been pretty active and playing games. But I think it's they're coming to the end, of their rope here. The dark arts and the deep state and all that nonsense, all the hidden stuff is being exposed now, and so they're on their last legs. They're just doing their last little bit, to try to suppress things.
Interesting. So just more kind of what do they call that? Psychological, fear-based. We're gonna buzz your house with our copters, kind of thing.
Exactly. And what we do is we run out and film them and then put it on YouTube, and they hate that because they don't exist. The black helicopters supposedly don't exist, and so we go out and film it and throw it up on YouTube. And we'll probably throw this one. We'll put it on the ESETI Stargate, the official channel. We'll throw this one up where we got the UFO just totally buzzing the helicopter. And a few years ago we had one a UFO, and this big, looked like a Huey. It's a big double helicopter came and was chasing the UFO, and the UFO would just blink out.
Oh, wow.
And it would appear behind it again. And the helicopter would make a big long turn and turn around, and it would blink out and appear behind it again. And that went on for probably a half an hour. It was unbelievable. And it was just ridiculous. They were just showing them how outgunned and outmanned they are. Their technology is so far beyond the stuff that we've got up there.
So you've seen, I know, just uncountable phenomenon. I wanted to ask you, and I know Joe and I were talking about this, is there anything in particular that stands out to you? And maybe it could be over the course of the last 30 years or even recently, where you were like, now if I could just have everybody in the world see exactly this right now.
I was just going to say that.
you know, have you had any instances like that you can recall? I mean, they're all pretty amazing, but any in particular?
Well, I've been taken on the ships and things like that, but the problem is you can't take a camera with you. I don't think they work, in their dimension, you might say. But
You've been
I've
on
had
the
everything,
ships?
from physical face-to-face contact to taking out a body up on the ships and seeing the higher dimensional ships and what they're all about, and they've explained to me, there's a war going on, and people have a hard time understanding that, but there's a trans-dimensional war going on, and a lot of it has been cleaned up in the rest of the galaxy in this universe, and now this is the last holdout, you might say. We're this little planet in the outermost corner of the Milky Way, and it's just kind of been left alone, and there's been a lot of manipulation going on here, some good and some not so good, and so they're finally coming in to clean that up and straight. There's a lot of karma involved in what's been happening here on the Earth over the millenniums.
Wow. I gotta ask you, man. You said you went on a ship, and can you give us a little understanding of what it looked like on this ship, or were there colors, or what would one expect to see maybe if they were on a ship?
Well, some ships are pretty bland. There's not much to them because everything is kind of hidden, and they have screens for windows, and it all works telepathically. Everything is controlled telepathically by the pilot, so you don't see a lot of knobs and all these other things going. And they usually have 3 seats in them, and they're not that big, and they're pretty simple on the inside. But whatever you need, comes on when you need it. Pretty basic. And then the other ships, there are everything from extreme technology and monitoring systems. They're monitoring the entire Earth, and they have other things that are more organic, ships that are like flying zoos, you might say, or botanical gardens and things like that. So there's all kinds of different ships up there, and some are as big as planets. There's one ship that's been sitting in front of the sun, and every time a kill shot comes at the Earth, it blocks it. Wow. So they've kept us going, or we'd be back in the Dark Ages, and we'd be back at horse and buggy stage if it wasn't for them.
Wow. And do you know, is there a name to these that you've interacted with, or where are they from, or do you have any of that kind of information?
It's almost not where, but when they're from too as well, because these guys have time travel capabilities, and they're also from different dimensions. And so you could be talking to a Pleiadian that's coming forward in time, from way back. We've got Pleiadians coming 2 million years in our future that are coming back to help us now. And they're like 300-400 years old, and they look like they're about 25, things like that. But we have there's mainly the main ones that are here. There's an Orion Council of Light, and they went through the reptilian wars and all that stuff in their system, and so they're coming here to help liberate the Earth. But you've got the Pleiadians, the Orion Council of Light, the Syrians, which are feline beings. Most of them are feline beings. There is other beings there in the Sirius system too as well. And then you've got the Andromedans, which some of those are mythologically known as archangels, because they have magnetized light bodies and huge light ships. And what's interesting is they have these huge bands of energy that come out from behind them that swirl around. And when you see them coming to you, the energy feathers back, and it looks like wings, but they're not really wings. It's an energy that comes from them, like a light body. They're like they kind of look like wings, but they're not. It's just pure energy. Because it's like kind of old garb to be flapping big wings around. We don't
want to do that.
Yeah, you can appear anywhere instantly. What do you need to be flapping your wings for? So.
Well, I had to give up my wings a long time ago and my halo.
Yeah.
But I understand. I got to ask you this. So I just think I've never really had the opportunity, I don't know if Joe has, to chat with somebody who's actually met beings interdimension that are from another dimension or another star system. And maybe for you this is like every day, I was seeing that, and for us we're like dying for a paranormal event. Let me tell you, we would love to have
something
like, we would love to see a ship, or we don't know if we want to see a being, right, Joe? We're not
I'm ready.
Yeah, maybe. Can you give us some advice, seriously? How we talk about this on all of our shows. We're like, we want to have a paranormal experience. And
how will we approach them? How will we go up to approach them? Or do they telepathically talk to us? Or
yeah, we want to, can you give us some advice on because we're going to contact in the desert, of course. We're going to see you there.
Yeah.
And what do we got to do to see something that would just confirm our thoughts? Do you have any advice?
Yeah, basically, it's real important to realize we have an old saying: just because you're dead doesn't mean you're enlightened, and just because you're an ET doesn't mean you're benevolent. So it's a very good idea to learn how to heal, unseen negative influences, and maintain your own self-authority and use discernment, when working with these different beings, because some of them aren't in our highest and best good. You've got some reptilians and greys and serpent beings and things like that come in, and faker spirits. They'll come in and say, "I'm Jesus" or something.
Oh, wow.
And so you got to use some, discernment and develop your own inner sensitivity. But that's what we teach here. We teach people how to use discernment and how to stand your ground and how to remove, unseen negative influences. But that's one of the first things. But the main thing is the mind in which you seek is the mind in which you connect. And so if you have a lot of fear or anger or religious programming and things like that, that's going to create that reality. It's going to create your reality. So the main thing to do is focus on love and joy and bliss and the higher frequencies, and put your intent out that you want to have a benevolent contact, and you want something that's going to be beneficial to you and the planet, and set the intent that way, and then go for the contact. Because there's a lot of people just say, oh, just open wide, let anything come in.
Yes.
And that's very irresponsible, to do that.
So, yeah, that's interesting, because I know Dr. Greer says that they're all the aliens are benevolent.
Exactly, yeah.
And I think, if you're calling out there into the ether, you can't just expect it all to be good, I guess. But see, we want to have an amazing, awesome experience. We don't want to be terrified. Have you ever been terrified yourself? Have you ever met a being and went, oh my gosh, this is... what do I do? Or maybe even early on.
Well, when I was younger, I ran into, I had a battle with a being once that tried to take over my body, and it wasn't fun, and it lasted most of the night and to the wee hours of the morning, finally got rid of it. But, and it was an initiation, it was part of my own growth and process. But, I've had some experiences. I've had reptilians show up right in front of me, and grays and things like that. But they just made me stronger. I just learned how to get on top of them, and the more I learned, the more I was challenged, which was interesting. And then finally, I got on top of some of the deepest, darkest ones. And so now it's not really a problem anymore.
Oh, wow. So the grays are not our friends. Is that what you're saying?
Well, it's not to make a pun, but it's a real gray area. It depends on who's operating them and who's working with them. The tall grays can be really nasty. There are some other grays that are just little robots. They're little biological robots, and they're performing certain tasks down here. And some are benevolent, and some are being performed by other, self-serving entities. So. But it's better to connect with the ones that are more human, you might say, and more that have that love frequency, or
right.
They're very spiritually and technologically advanced. That's where you want to go.
Well, it seems as though your organization ESETI it's more than just UFO sightseeing, but about making meaningful conscious contact. Would that sound about right to you? Exactly.
For them to contact you, there needs to be some purposeful good behind it. They're very busy in what they're doing. But if we're going forward and cleaning up our own consciousness and, expanding our consciousness, you're going to find them along the way. And once you reach a certain frequency or vibration, they'll find you, basically. So the more we work on, rising our own consciousness and cleaning up our own past, all the wounds and traumas and wrong conclusions from past experience, even past life stuff, the more we clear that up, the more we rise in frequency, and the more you rise in frequency, pretty soon you're putting a beacon out, and they go, oh, that guy's ready, and they'll come see you.
So then you must be like a 100-watt light bulb in a room full of 65-watt light bulb. In that case, man, if you've got, I would love to be you, or maybe I wouldn't, I don't know, maybe I'd be terrified. Joe and I should come out to the ranch sometime and see if we can be a part of some kind of amazing experience. Because darn it, Joe, I want it to happen.
Me too.
On our terms, of course, nothing crazy. We don't want to be abducted and probed or anything like that. But
exactly, yeah,
that's all in your dreams.
Yeah, and I just want to. You haven't been probed, right, James?
No.
Okay. So, see, like I told you, we don't have to worry about that. It's not a real thing.
I never asked about it.
I know, but it sounds funny. You see.
They do. They do. They do a lot of experimentations, and the Greys are mainly behind that, and some of the reptilian stuff. And they have been doing a lot of experimentation, and that's aligned with the government as well. The black projects, but you can't avoid that by hooking up with the benevolent ones and asking them for help, and then that takes care of that.
See, we got a lot to learn.
We do.
I want to know more about why they probe buttholes. Like, what's the deal with that?
Yeah, that's a good question.
What is there to find in there?
Well, I think a lot of that is monitoring. They're just monitoring our whole diet, our dietary, what's going through, the toxins and things like that. They're keeping aware. A lot of times
very disappointed us, Joe.
Yeah, when they grab cows, they take their reproduction systems out and they go and analyze those because they want to see how bad, the earth has been polluted, how much radiation is affecting the DNA and things like that. So
interesting.
That's why they go for those parts of the body just to see how much damage is being done on the earth.
That makes sense.
So now I'm going to ask you, have these beings, or as you said, there's obviously different types of beings. Do you know how long they've been around and what their ultimate goal and purpose for being so active right now? Is there something going on there we should know about?
Yeah, definitely. Basically, they've been around forever, and the Earth has been colonized several times, and we had to start over as primitives, due to huge pole shifts and meteor strikes and things like that. But I mean, it goes back to past Jurassic days. Egypt is replete with contact. It's even in the Bible. They talk about shiny discs coming out of the firmament and wheels within wheels with lights flashing all around them. I mean, I can go on and on.
Yeah,
but
it's Ezekiel, right?
All the Sanskrit teachings talk about, the different ships and the different types of ships and who's on them. So, they've been around forever, and they do have kind of a hands-off program that they've agreed to, like a prime directive. But the problem is the negative ones don't honor that, and that's been one of the big problems here. Now the benevolent ones are here to enforce that, and they're kicking out the negative ETs are being kicked out as we speak. They're almost done with that.
Wow. Jeez. Sorry, our dog's barking.
That's all right.
Perfect time. Thank you, Bark, right in the middle of our interview with James. Thanks so much.
You stupid.
We're having a great time, man. I could just sit and talk to you all the time. I'm just trying to think of what would be the biggest takeaway from our conversation with you. What would be... Obviously, like I know you were saying, consciousness is a big part of it, and raising consciousness, so to speak. Mm-hmm. What does that mean to, let's just say, the average person that's going to their job, doing their thing, whatever, and they just for the first time hear we need to raise our consciousness? What does that mean?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, basically, people are running around thinking they're a body and a personality, and and they go to CNN and all these other news things to tell them what's going on in the world. And it's sad because we're actually a multidimensional being existing on a vibrational continuum. So we have a body within a body within a body, like energy bodies and light bodies, all the way back to the source. But if we just think we're a personality and a body, then we're in social consciousness and we're being governed by the powers that I would say were, because they're on their way out. But and so we have to get beyond that. The best thing I can tell everyday Joe is to throw your TV set out the window, and start meditating and get out in nature, because that's about the only way you can do it. And find a good process-oriented therapy set, practitioner that can help you clear, release the past and clear the past. But that's basically it. The higher dimensional beings, they have the same message that all the masters that have been on the earth have been given, and they talk about universal law, which is universal peace and brother sisterly love and individual freedom and prosperity for everybody. And those are the principles behind universal law, the basic principles. And they've been giving us that since the beginning, but unfortunately we have a lot of greed and corruption and tyranny that seem to avoid adhering to universal law. But that's changing because there's a huge awakening happening and a major vibrational lifting and healing that the whole planet's undergoing. And so we have to get back into alignment with that higher consciousness and energy if we're going to make this shift. There's a huge shift underway that we're in the middle of right now.
Interesting. I think Joe and I are just starting to kind of make our way out of the initial introduction to this whole phenomenon, which is like, you know, you go to the normal sort of alien narrative. You've got the Greys and the crashes and kind of the pop culture's take and view on it and everything. And then it seems as though the more that we look into it, Joe, I know you agree, it does seem to be, and I know you aren't the biggest fan of this idea, but consciously connected or using consciousness, you know. How do you feel about that, Joe?
Well,
I know that because in past, you know, probecasts you weren't so big on
it. Maybe that's the key, that nobody's...
Is that what we're missing, you know?
That's probably what we're missing.
Because you and I aren't very enlightened in that way.
No, that's what we probably should be doing.
I don't think enlightened people eat Jack in the Box. Would that be right, James?
Well, yeah, I try to avoid some of that stuff because, you know, there's like a war on dumbing us down, basically. You know, with all the food additives and the fluoride in the water and the chemtrails and everything else, they're doing all they can to shut our systems down. And so in order to counter that, we have to kind of change our habits, you know, and try to eat, you know, close to the earth and get away from all the additives. And I don't know how you stop breathing to get away from the chemtrails, but, you know, people need to rise up and say enough's enough with that. We need a huge collective awakening on that one to stop that, because that, you know, nothing else matters. You know, you can get your fancy house, your car, and everything else, but if you're dead, you know, it's not going to do you much good.
That's such a great point. And I know that was something, a point that you actually made in the documentary that I watched, which was, you know, you worked your butt off, you know, in the beginning of your life, and, you know, you had things, and then you realized how much those things don't matter in the end, and how having a sense of peace and connectedness, you know, seems to be the most important thing, or an important addition to your everyday life, I would say.
Exactly.
We have to learn that. We do not meditate. So we would love to know, how do you start a meditation? Do I knock Joe out over the head? What do we have to...
Well, I drown myself. That worked, but I wouldn't recommend it to other people. But that was my biggest awakening.
Really?
But, yeah, basically, you know, if you can't get out of nature, just find a quiet space. If there's noise that's bothering you, you know, put on some nice soft music, some meditation music, and you just kind of go within. And the trick to meditation is, people aren't going to tell you this, is that you cannot stop your mind. You know, you can't. It's not going to work, because your mind is going to keep running and running. You just let it run, and then it runs out of gas, and it'll go to the next level. And you focus on just love and joy and bliss. You can bring yourself back to your breath if you want, and just focus on your breath. But each time you'll start rising up to different levels of consciousness, and you just keep going. And eventually your mind will slow way down, and you'll find that silence or that peace. But if you're trying to stop the mind, you're still in the ego, because you're trying, you know, and it's not about trying, it's about surrendering and just relaxing and let it flow, you know, just let it flow, and just don't have any attachment to what's happening, you know, but I also recommend is do clearings. And those are in all my books, and the website, you can get it for free, the clearing process. Before you meditate, clear out any unseen negative influences, and then you have a safe space to really expand in, and your meditations will just take off.
I think that's great. By the way, if anybody wants to know more, make sure you go to ESETI, ECETI.org to learn more all about James Gilliland and this amazing property you live on, and at the ESETI Ranch. And I know that you're right there near some portals, I've been told. And that's a big reason why you have so much paranormal or, you know, UFO sort of sightings there. Is that true? That there's like a portal of some sort near you?
Well, the mountain itself is a massive energy beacon, you might say. There's a lot of energy coming off the mountain, and that's been recorded with PIP technology. And then when we do ceremony here and do the meditations, you can actually see the whole room change and shift, and like golden energy will fill the room, or like a pink or green energy. But that's all been scientifically verified. But the main thing is that we work with this energy and we anchor this energy in, and we keep the energy clear. And so that's why it's, when people come here, they feel like, they're home. They just right away, they just feel this beautiful energy. But it's not, it doesn't just happen. I mean, we do a lot of work to maintain that energy.
Now, on the disclosure end of things, because ultimately you're a part of that, whether you like it or not, have you had any issues with Men in Black? Or, I know, like you said, you've had the military helicopters buzzing you, but have you ever had your life threatened, or have you ever had anything like that happen to you? Because that seems to be kind of a recurring thing. I just thought I'd ask you.
Well, basically I've been shot at. I've had my brake lines cut. I've had my lug nuts taken off. That's a favorite one they like to do, and I can go on and on. I think I've been poisoned a few times.
Safe to say nothing has happened then.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez, man.
But, it's like, but I always have somebody looking after me, and, I always get through it, so I feel, kind of blessed on that end of it. But yeah, there's been a huge effort to keep this quiet, and the thing is, we already back engineered all this stuff. I mean, the head of Lockheed said we have the technology to take ET home, and it's true. So, I mean, we have our ships and everything else, but they're nowhere near to the technology that these other ships are showing us.
Yeah, I've read about the back engineering stuff. It totally intrigues the heck out of me. So does Joe. Just to think that we were able to somehow, I don't know. It's how do you back engineer something you have absolutely no concept of? That's interesting. We'll have to find somebody that's done that.
Well, you get science. The real science isn't. You don't get it through school and things like that. It comes to you. And so when you have somebody that's awake, I mean, like some of the people I know, the ETs showed up and appeared to them and just actually put things in their hand, and said, "Here, figure it out. This is how it works." And then they guided them through the process, like telepathically. So that's basically how that happens. It won't happen through book learning, because most of the stuff we're taught in school is wrong. Even the science.
I agree with that. I would agree with that. So speaking of all this, I've got one more question for you today. So when is disclosure going to happen, James?
Are we going to have something soon?
Well, here's the funny thing about that. We've had contact for like 30 years. I've had it all my life. So, everybody goes, "When are the ships going to land?" And I go, when are we going to have contact? And I said, since the Earth has been rotating, we've had ships here and we've had contact, and it's up to us to rise to the occasion. And the masses, a lot of times they're not, I mean, although they have been showing up everywhere, they just had the Blue Angels doing their thing, and a ship flew right past them, and they went on their ascent, going straight up, and the ship just left them in the dust, and that's on film too. So they have been appearing at like major events in Mexico. They're all over the place, huge fleets of ships in Mexico. So we have all that, on film, but there's a extreme censorship going on, with the lamestream media. But they're here and they show themselves, and if people are awake, they'll work with you and contact you. But it's a matter of us rising to the occasion. It's not their job to come and straighten us all out.
Well, of course not. Well, we've had a fantastic time chatting with you, James, and getting to know.
It was awesome.
Man, we would, maybe one day we could come to your ranch and see something. Maybe that's where we have our paranormal experience, Joe.
Yeah,
or, we're dying, man.
Yeah, this information, the last book I wrote, Anunnaki Return, covers all this stuff. It covers the ancient history of Earth, what happened in the past, the different groups, and how to who to contact and which ones not to contact and everything. So it's all in the latest book, and it's a real eye opener when you look at the real history of Earth.
So it seems as though this higher consciousness the missing key.
Yeah, it is. It is. And also discernment and learning how to heal unseen negative influences, because it's really about self-mastery and getting past the body and the personality, and then the whole universe opens up for you.
Why is that? That sounds fantastic, Joe. That sounds better than going to Jack in the Box and you know what we do. So well, man, we're definitely going to come check you out at Contact in the Desert, because if anybody wants to learn and know more about James and his ranch and his amazing organization, make sure you watch him speak at Contact in the Desert coming up this next week. We will be there. We would like to thank you, James, so much for being on the show today. And wow, our minds are blown, and now we have to go read books and research stuff.
All right.
Thanks again.
All right, thanks for having me on your show.
You're welcome, man. We'll see you soon, and keep up the amazing work.
Yes.
All right.
All right. Thank you, James.
Have a good one.
Well, that was fun.
That was fun.
Interesting.
I didn't know it was telepathically.
What?
Like, you know.
What? You didn't know? You're like, I didn't know.
No, like consciousness, you know? Consciousness.
I know, that's the thing that's hanging me up.
That's the second person that I've heard it from that was...
It's kind of hanging me up a little bit, because it's like... I get
Is it like praying, or is it like...
Exactly.
You know?
Is he talking about, like, is it, praying? How long do you meditate for?
So those are questions we should ask.
I think that it's... I don't even think we would be able to understand the answer.
No.
I think people... I mean, it has been said that meditation does offer healing properties, de-stressing. There's all kinds of benefits for it, you know.
Tons, they said. Acupuncture. Maybe we should do acupuncture and
I'll
meditate.
gladly give you some acupuncture. I've got plenty of needles here. I can start right now. Here, let's see. Did this work?
Fuck off.
No, come on.
Hey! That dumb bitch is sharp.
That's what they do in acupuncture.
Forget that.
But we're going to be there, and we are going to raise our consciousness, right, Joe?
I will try.
That may be our hardest.
I'm not making fun of anybody. I just...
No.
I would like to try it. 100%.
I would too. I think it's important. People keep talking about it. It's the thing that keeps coming up over and... Because there's the tangible evidence side of it, which, we're investigating. There's the word of mouth portion of it. There's all those things. It all seems to come back down to meditation, consciousness, and having a conscious connection with...
And roosters crowing.
And roosters crowing, yes.
Maybe that's why we can't do it, because rooster won't shut the fuck up.
Well, yeah, maybe because there's a damn fucking rooster here. We live in a loud area. We live right next to...
It's just the military. They're making their own eggs. They're trying to create a chicken
That's what we call a military cock.
They're trying to make chicken people.
Joe, we have got to try meditating. Look, at Contact in the Desert, we have got to make contact. How are we going to do it?
A bag of shrooms.
I was just going to say. Maybe we'll drink some
magic
drink some
juice.
Drano cleaner and get a little hyphy, Anyway. Maybe not. Okay.
Well, this was our early cast, and
by the way, this is the earliest show we've ever done. But we enjoyed it because we had James, and it was such a great way to wake up. He's so chill.
He was very chill. I would love to just sit and talk with him for a few hours.
Problem is, I could talk to him like forever.
Yeah.
You see. So hopefully we'll catch his lecture at Contact in the Desert. Joe and I are going to be doing a lecture too, just somewhere. We don't know. We weren't officially invited to do one.
I think it might be the porta potties. We'll be doing our lecture
right near the porta potties. We'll be doing a fantastic lecture, so make sure you stop by and say hey. By the way, thank you for all the love to everybody that's going. We are excited to.
We're very excited. We can't wait. It's gonna be...
We've already met new friends that we haven't met. So
I know there's people that are like, I can't wait to meet you. Or like, oh, you want to meet us?
You want to meet us? We smell like corn nuts and balls, Oh, the return of the soundboard. Joe, can we do some shout outs? We got a little bit of time here in Look, here's another one. X username is Laura X. Yeah, hope to meet you guys there. See? Okay, give us some shout outs in impressions, please.
All right. Trying to figure out what I want to do this morning. No, I could do Homer. Yeah, that's fine. I got, let's see. Jump, slide, jump. I don't want to say these names. Go, Chummy, Lord, Magic One. Let's see. UFO Earth. Look, Winner Taker 2011.
Tigger.
Terry.
Or Goofy.
Yo, we got Terry Big Graham. Have you seen Mickey? Yo, hey Max, we got Lauren Willing. Yo. It's too early for this.
Pooh Bear. Come on.
I don't want to do Pooh Bear.
Father.
Oh God, I can't do it. Guys, it's too early for this. My voice is not working.
It's too early. It's noon.
Well, it's noonish for me. It's early for me. And I can't do stuff when I got something on my ears, in my throat, on my hand.
Give me my phone.
You do.
Okay.
Take away from me, you son of a bitch. Oh!
Your mom is my mom, remember. UFO Man 8014. Yeah, Joe said some of those. Hot Pink. Terry, Big T Graham. UFO Disclosure MUFON, thank you. Was I love. And that's on Instagram, so we're just going to check out Twitter here.
Earth Files.
Oh, God. Hey, Earth Files is Linda Moulton Howe. She liked my tweet. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Anyway,
Jeremy Corbell's hi. Thank you for talking yesterday.
Oh man, he was so much fun. Don Hyde, thank you for the retweets.
Contacting Desert Camp for help our homies.
Nicole Dome.
Our UF homies. Yes, we could have a UF homie time up in the Contacting the Desert. We can't forget Carla and AJ and Board.
I was really on the final note, Joe. It's 2 minutes in, right? We got 2 minutes left. I was watching the Unacknowledged documentary last night because, I downloaded it.
Of course.
And
naturally.
There's a witness testimony at the very under the extras, and there's a 3-hour interview with Dr. Greer where he cries. I highly recommend everybody watches those two things. Thank you all so much. Thank you, James. Thank you for everyone who's listening. We are the UFO Bros. Find us at all things at UF0 Bros TV, except for Twitter. We are
Zero at UFO Zero Bros TV at Twitter. Everything else is UFO Bros TV.
Yeah, it's only on Twitter.
Twitter is just a...
We don't like Twitter very much.
Oh, no, we get love from Twitter. We gotta like Twitter.
Okay, Twitter, we love you. All right, thank you guys so much. I'm Emmett. And... and we are the UFO. Thanks for listening.